Welcome back to Reality 101. My name is Dr. Molly.
And I'm Dr. Rule.
And we are back to finally cover 90 Day Fiancé the other way. We are covering the last 3 episodes, episode 14, 15, and 16. And so they did kind of a weird thing where they made like a halvesy episode of the tell-all. I don't know, Doctor. What?
It was really obvious to me that they just had like too much content and didn't know what to do with it. And some twists and turns took place because I've never seen an episode that was half reunion or half tell all and half real content. Like I was even confused looking online and in my TV and like seeing the thumbnails. I was like, am I missing something here? And no, just in the middle of the episode, it's like boom, boom, boom. Now we're going to do the tell all.
I mean, yeah, we have a lot to critique this episode. We just wanted to remind everyone that we are also covering Love. I was going to say Love After Lockup, but maybe that was a premonition. Maybe we should cover Love After Lockup because it's good this season. We're covering Love in Paradise. You can catch Love in Paradise if you subscribe to one of our Patreon tiers at patreon.com/RLTY. 101 podcast, and you can also subscribe to the video version of Love in Paradise on Patreon and on YouTube, the same /. Dr. Rule, can you tell them where they can find us on social media?
Of course, you can find us on social media on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. Our handle is at RLTY101. We'd love to see you and stay in touch with you there. And as always, I know I say this every week, but it's because it's so true. We really support your support of Black and Indigenous feminist public scholarship. And we're also very excited to announce that, of course, we've recently launched our YouTube channel where you can check us out as well.
Yeah, and so there's lots of cute things on all of these platforms, and you can really think about it as talking about your favorite television shows with people who like to talk about them too, but want to talk about it in kind of a more politically or culturally or socially nuanced way. And in a way that's like fun to learn about things, but also you'll realize that you already know these things. You have all of these cultural examples of these big terms like intersectionality or feminism or patriarchy. It's all happening all the time on Bravo and TLC. So we're really excited to talk with you all. We're also launching new content coming up this summer, so please watch for that. It's gonna be more academic based, so it's gonna be fun. So we're very, very excited. Okay, Dr. Rule, you want to get into the episodes, or do you have anything else to add before we get started?
Yeah, let's just get into it. I mean, there was a lot to unpack. And I guess maybe we should talk first with the final couple of things that happened before they switched over to tell all mode. So, are you okay with just jumping into that episode? And yeah, there were like a couple of kind of bombs that were dropped. So I'm thinking specifically about Nicole and Mahmoud, for example. In their final time on the show, we find out that he's been talking to other girls in a potentially inappropriate way online.
Oh God, and it's like, I just want to go into the future for a moment, but Gabe at the tell-all, right? Gabe said it really well. He said, first it's a text, and then it's a picture, and then it's a call, and then it's meeting up. And this is like the fuckboy formula, right? Mahmoud, some poor woman was like, do you want to buy my lamp? And then all of a sudden he's asking her probably like, how old are you? And like, how tall are you? Or something like that. But I was like, good for you, girl. Good for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I was surprised. I did not see this coming from Mahmoud. And I think there's one more tell-all episode left where his brother comes on. That was part of the preview, and I think his brother is gonna lay into him. I don't think his brother is here for that kind of behavior, but yeah, Mahmoud having us lose confidence at the final hour.
I know, but I really love this interaction, even though I'm not for Nicole. I don't know, she really bothers me in a lot of ways, but I loved how he was like, well, how do you think things will change? Right? Because they're talking about moving to LA, and he said, how do you think things will change? And she just says, well, I'm hoping you'll be a little less of a dictator.
Oh,
And
no.
she's using these phrases like, can you address your anger about that, right? Like, I felt like she was just in full messy bitch mode, and it was really, really great. But like he said that he thinks the clothing arguments will get worse. I do appreciate that he pulled a Rishi and he's like, my phone is in Arabic, she'll never be able to read it. And I'm like, I mean, a lady knows.
Yeah, yeah. Um, okay, I think we're gonna have to organize our own episode by using the same weird model that they use in the show and actually talking about the things that happened and then the tell-all, because
Yeah.
there's time that passes and the reflections are different and all the cast interacts together. So okay, are we ready to just move on to what happens with Chris and Jamie?
Yeah, this was nuts.
Meltdown.
Meltdown. I mean, okay, like they were both kind of nervous. They didn't know what would happen when Chris came back. Chris comes back. And then I'm like, wow, things are like really smooth. I'm like, a little too smooth, like calm before the storm. Chris books Jamie a birthday, kind of like a villa almost for her birthday. And then everything goes to the shitter.
Yeah, like quickly. I know. And there was that one moment where Chris is talking to the camera and she's like, as Jamie's like swimming around and splashing around and having fun, like, I just feel so in love with her. And then, like, 10 minutes later, they're breaking up. But okay, there is an iconic thing that happens here where Chris rents this indoor pool for Jamie because it's like winter in Bogota. And one of the things on the food table there is just a plate that is a mountain of cheese balls. Did you notice this?
No, but that sounds heavenly.
I mean, those like Cheeto cheese balls.
Oh, cheese balls. I thought you meant like balls of cheese, like mozzarella sometimes is in a ball.
No, like the cheese puffs, like that come in the
Oh,
barrel that you see at the
yep.
grocery store. There was like a mountain of them. And I was just like, this is A, hilarious, and B, I love it.
She brought the Alabama. She brought the Alabama to Bogota.
It was there. It was tasty, I'm sure, but I was just like, that's iconic. I love it.
So
Yeah.
they're fighting. It gets into basically like what's going on with the money. Where were you? And Chris is like, my son always comes first. Basically, her son was arrested for drugs, which is terrible. But Chris is just always something. And so, I didn't know. Again, this is where like the editing is a little squishy for me because did Jamie know this but was protecting her privacy, so was blaming it on other things to the camera? Was Chris not forthcoming with Jamie that was the real reason she was not coming back to Colombia? Like I just didn't understand really what was happening. And I know like these are real people, so all of their communication doesn't happen on camera, but I just couldn't really follow the argument. And really, Chris, especially the way that Chris was so defensive, it just ended up again with her looking like it's just another reason. There's just always something with her. And it just sounded like excuses.
I mean, I think that's the overarching issue with Chris, right? And it's almost like the cry wolf theory where, if it's not one thing, it's another thing, right? And Jamie even says, for example, like her son getting arrested and going to jail, that happened, very early on in this 5-month window where Chris was back in the States. Now, like, why was that, right? Was that because Chris had to, provide him with a lot of money and then wasn't able to provide that to Jamie? Was it because, she wanted to be there from the period when he went in to when he got out and helped him with that transition? Like, I agree. We never got really the full scoop. But it does seem that with Chris, if it's not one thing, it's something else. And I think that's why people are like suspicious of her.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of what it really is, I don't know if it matters, but Chris is an unstable person. She's like emotionally unsafe to be around. I think she really tries to create drama instead of having hard conversations. And she talks about this a little bit in the tell-all, right? She's like, well, when I'm angry, I have to just leave. Like, you need to let me leave. Like, that's not a mature way. Like, you can't just leave and create a toxic environment, right? Because you're leaving like loved ones and children in the wake of that anger. And yeah, I mean, so when they're sitting down, I like the line that Jamie has. Also, like, we have to acknowledge that there's a language difference here, and so Jamie is not able to communicate right in this argument the way that she feels. That's very clear. She does have an amazing one-liner though, where she's just like, what did she say? She was like, when was your ticket booked to leave? Was it today or tomorrow? Like, calling her out on like, what, when did you decide you're going to start a fight so you could just go back home, basically. Yeah.
And then yeah, like Chris is trying to leave, and I know we're jumping the gun a little bit, but she also says in the tell-all about this behavior, she's like, when I get backed into a corner or angry like this, I black out. Again, unsafe, not healthy. But she like runs out of this indoor pool. She abandons the plate of cheese balls and flees the scene. And Jamie, of course, goes after her. And Chris literally like puts her hands on Jamie and pushes her out of the car. And I'm glad that in Jamie's mind, it seemed like something really clicked in that moment. And she was like, this is crazy. There were witnesses, the production crew was there, and she was like, this is too much. I'm done. Yeah. And that was it.
And Jamie she's like solid as a rock. She's just like, okay, go. Go. And then, again, yeah, jumping ahead, right? They confirm at the tell-all that they have not spoken since. And I think, it's just really difficult. Like, can you imagine? I'm sorry, but just getting married and then that being rushed, and then they're gone for 5 months afterward. Like, Jamie has also said, like, she's not even out to her family, like dealing with the type of shame that comes with an unstable relationship like that. It was just really hard for me to watch, but good riddance.
It was sad. It was really sad.
It was.
Thinking back to episode 1, like, we wanted good things for them. I think they're the first lesbian couple that's been on this show. And not, of course, that like this is a representation of all, lesbian relationships or, same-sex relationships, but I think we were just rooting for them. We were excited for them to be there. We were excited for the representational value. And especially Jamie has like been so true as a sweetheart, like from start to finish. And Chris, man, just like messed her life up.
She really did. Like, she just kind of was a tornado. She just came in and like blew shit up and then left. And I want to say also that Jamie actually like identified herself on Reddit. So if anybody's on the 90 Day Fiancé uncensored Redditor, she like went on and she was like, hi everyone, this is Jamie. Thank you for the support. And she literally like 20,000 people be like, we love you.
That's awesome.
It's very, very cute. And someone's like, can you do an AMA? And she has said that she's going to do an AMA in the future, probably when she's off her contract. So
okay, what is an AMA?
It's an Ask Me Anything.
Okay, see, for all of our non-Reddit people like me, okay, and Ask Me Anything. Yeah. Okay, now I know, an AMA.
Yeah, and I actually, if you've had a class with me, I do AMAs at the end of my semester on the last day, and I let students go on an anonymous like online document to submit any question. I will answer any question from students.
That is brave and bold, Dr.
Thank you. Thank you. I feel sorry for some of these students. They're asking really weird questions, but go big or go home.
Fair enough. We are not doing AMAs in my class.
I know that, Dr. Rule.
Unwelcome.
Your last name is more than ironic. So.
Oh man. All right. Danielle and Johan.
Let's do it. So I forget. Are we still talking about? I really want to talk about this basketball scene.
Yeah.
With Taylin. Okay, great. So I love the relationship that he and Taylor basically had. I was like, this is what is needed. Like, first of all, I love seeing like platonic cis hetero friendship and them talking about Danielle and Johan apologizing. I really got the sense that that was not like Danielle. Well, we know Johan doesn't do shit just because Danielle tells him to do.
No, he does not.
And he's just like confirmed that that Taylor does not want a relationship. And he asked some really great questions, because I was thinking about that. Like, Johan hasn't really had an opportunity to ask questions of Danielle or her friends, right? And he was just like, is Danielle gonna change? Is she the type of person that changes? And Taylor's like, no.
Yeah. I really appreciated that too. You know, when Johan first met Taylor, he was very defensive about it, right? Like, he didn't know who this guy was. He didn't know if he was coming to swoop in and like try to take his wife and win her back. And, you know, he just didn't know. So he was very guarded. But then, right, like they meet up together, and Johan sort of walks back some of his, you know, off-color remarks that he made to him the first time they met, which, yeah, I agree, like, seemed very genuine, not coming from Danielle. And then he actually turned to this guy as like a friend and as a confidant, and was like, you know, okay, now that I feel comfortable with you and know you and all this, like, can you actually help me parse out, you know, this person who we've both at different times like been with? And he kind of like opened up about his struggle.
I loved it. And I know Dr. Rule does not care, but anyone out there, I definitely think Johan's a Capricorn or has some strong Capricorn placements that he's working out on and with Danielle. I also wanted to say, like, you know what? F you, TLC, because you wanted Johan to be the villain so bad. I think that they wanted him to be from his first season in Love is Paradise, they just wanted him to be the villain, and he just hasn't been. He just hasn't. And he's had delayed. And, you know, this has been said on other podcasts, like Reality Gaze. Like, if Danielle were not such a nightmare, Johan would have looked terrible. But I don't even think Johan is doing. I would probably still defend some of Johan's actions. Like, are they very culturally identified and allied and like too patriarchal for my taste buds? Like, yeah, but I would still defend him. I'm like, he just wants to drive the car, or he just wants to go to America. Like, we have to remember, he is just still living an entire lie. And yeah, they tried really hard to make him the villain. He's just never has been.
Yeah, I agree. I like Johan. I think he's nice. Yeah, good guy.
I'm excited
And I agree. He was cast as you know, like the bad guy. And again, I keep wanting to jump ahead to
I know
to the reunion, and I'll just say this one thing too, and then we can move on to recapping the other couples. But you know, there was even this moment when the tell-all first got started where Tim and Veronica are there, which we can return to this. I have thoughts about this. Yeah,
I know.
But I don't remember if it was Tim or Veronica, but one of them says, like, you know, who do you think is like the biggest scammer, or like somebody's like the biggest scam artist out of all of them? And it just like so clearly laid bare the tee up that 90 Day Fiancé gives, right? Where we have these innocent Americans and these, you know, people in other countries who are just, you know, the whole show is about parsing through, are they ripping off the Americans, right? Are the Americans safe with these people? You know, what types of backwards cultural values are going to be thrust upon the Americans? You know, are they going to be forced to eat unrefrigerated meat? Like, you know, like, and I think it's easy to forget that that's really fundamentally the question at the heart of this show that's driving it forward. It's not just, you know, following couples. It's really fundamentally rooted in xenophobia, right? And parsing out which foreign nationals can we trust and which ones have conned good American folks. And yeah, that's just a long way to say that I think they totally teed up Johan to be this sort of like suavecito, Dominican, hanky-panky, works in a resort, good looking, Black male, sexual prowess, wants Danielle for her money. And he has just not fulfilled that. So I'm happy to see it.
Yeah, and I just have to say one little point about this. Like, I think that you're totally right. And we have to look at like a historical context. Like, we're literally living in a moment, right? Year two since 9/11, like 2001 to 2023 right now. Like, we are in this pocket, this interesting intersection where like reality TV hit, xenophobia is at an all-time high, and we have globalism, right? So it's just like the commodification of all three of these things, the fear of the other, but, at the same time, not acknowledging that we have so many structural failures in our US, because as you just said, right, like the people that are getting scammed are these good folks in America, but like Angela Dean to me is not a good folk. She's also not a good folk American, right? Like she's basically poor. She's working class poor. She's from the South. Like these are all characters that, Jeffrey Paschal, like in Tennessee, is like now in prison for kidnapping. Like a lot of these people are like not quote unquote good folks, but their only thing quote like going for them is their Americanness. And so it's an interesting show that tries to shore up what Americanness is. At the same time, they have all these new different people and people from different backgrounds. And now we have a trans person and we have like a lesbian couple. You're right. It all boils down to the same thing, which is the assumption that there is a je ne sais quoi about Americanness that someone else wants. And nobody is even going to scam for it anymore. Like, I cannot, like, they need to throw this terminology away, like get new keywords. Like this is not a show about scamming anymore.
No, it's not.
It's not. It's just a show about culture clash, honestly, I think. And ultimately like a preservation of whiteness or white Americanness, but.
Yeah. And I think that's why it stood out to me so much when I'm pretty sure it was Tim, framed it like that. And I was just like, wow, what a bizarre like analytical point of view here. Like, have you really watched the whole season on couple's couch and like come away still with this suspicion, right? Like, yeah.
I know, like, don't even get me started on him. I don't even think he would say that Jennifer was a scammer. I don't even think he would really say that, even though she has gone on to scam. Like, I don't think she was actually trying to scam Tim. Yeah, if we looked at the long list of Americans, sorry, I know I'm dragging on, this is my last point. We look at a long list of Americans and the people who are non-American on this show, we would see that the scammers and the abusers are always the Americans. It's always the Americans.
I don't know if I would say always.
I wouldn't say always, but more often, yeah, then it's always painted. Like season 1, Mark, like they actually live like down the road from me, or he does. They just got a divorce. Like he was abusing her on television. Big Ed, Angela, Jeffrey, like these are some of these people that come out as like not treating their spouses very well. Michael up in Connecticut.
Yeah, I think that there are very few, scammers, if you will, in the 90-day world that are, from the other countries. Like, but for example, like I think that Debbie and Osama, like I don't think that Debbie was scamming him. But I also don't really think he was necessarily scamming her either. Like, I think they maybe had a miscommunication. I think Chris kind of scammed Jamie, maybe not out of Jamie's financial things, right? Financial resources, but I think that Chris presented herself and scammed like love and attention and affection out of Jamie. So I think I just think it's a balance, right? But the show is teed up that it's unidirectional toward the non-Americans. But yeah.
Thank you for bringing up that point. We will discuss Tim and Veronica later.
Oh my God.
Or as Sean Robinson says, we're not going to get to all of this today. We wish you luck. Like, what are we getting to then, Sean? But whatever. So anything else about Danielle and Johan? I mean, we pretty much just had that scene. And then we had, yeah, I just enjoyed seeing the light bulbs go off for Johan, where he says, like, yeah, you ain't gonna change.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Okay, Rishi and Jen. Oh my God. So sad.
That is really sad. I mean, I'm glad that they really did show, like, this is a very mature breakup, and cultural clashing or not, sometimes it just don't work out, and the love is there, but there's just all of these other external factors that aren't going to work out. And yeah, they just basically just meeting at a cafe and having their little goodbyes, and I think it's really sad.
It's really sad. He really loves her. He really does.
Do you think that she is punishing him for his culture?
I mean, I think that effectively that is what it amounts to. I think that she, and this, oh my God, I have so many things to say about this in the reunion, but I think that she is approaching him and their relationship as if they come from the same cultural background and the same norms around family input, family lifestyle, family involvement with a married couple. And when he doesn't meet those same expectations, I think that she is treating him the way that she would treat, let's say like an American guy who doesn't have that same cultural background, who's committing the same action. So there's like a mismatch. And again, I think it comes up really clearly during the reunion. Some of the things that are said about Rishi, I don't know. I mean, should we just talk about it? I feel like should we talk about it, or should we just do the recap and then we'll talk about it?
Well, we just have one more couple. Do you want to just quickly talk about Debbie and Osama?
Yeah, and Gabe and Isabel.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
We'll come back to Jen and Rishi because there's a lot there.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, everybody, we had to take a tiny little break. We had to have a meeting of the minds, if you will, because we realized we have so much to say about the tell-all that we want to put it in another episode. So we're going to finish talking about these couples, and then it'll be a little shortened episode, and then we're going to upload another episode for the tell-all, which we're recording today, so don't worry. I think we're recording today.
Yeah, we're going to record it today. It's going to be available immediately. It's just, man, they really messed us up with their bizarre structure. So we are righting their wrong, and we are separating the content from the tell-all, as it should have been from the beginning.
We are. Okay, so we have our, let's talk about Debbie and Osama. Y'all got a Texas Margarita?
Oh my God. Okay, I'm from Texas. I laughed out loud. Debbie, you are not in Texas, girlfriend. Where is she from again? Where does she actually live?
She lives in Georgia, Sugar Hill, Georgia. And every episode we have, it's more clear to me that she has that accent and that she's like very Georgia identified, because I remember first meeting her, I was like, who is this exquisite, learned woman? Like, she doesn't look like she'd be from like bumfuck Georgia. But no, I love how she's like, I am a woman of culture, but I'm also a Philistine, and however I wield those things is totally up to me. I was like, in a culture that like abhors alcohol consumption, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, she just freaking cracks me up. I mean, also, like, is there another kind of margarita? Texas Margarita is the best kind, but like, I've never even heard anybody in another state be like, here in Washington, D.C., can I get a Texas Margarita? They would be like, what is Texas about it?
What's a Texas
Texas
Margarita?
knows.
What is it? Tell me. Or can you say it out loud, or is it a secret?
I don't think it's anything in particular. I think it's just this general like Texan superiority.
Oh, really? I thought I was like, oh, probably has an extra shot of something.
Okay, maybe. I don't think so. I think she's just saying like Texas makes the best margaritas, therefore let's order a Texas Margarita. I don't think it's actually a different cocktail.
I need to look it up. But this reminds
Okay.
me, I had an ex-boyfriend and we went to Europe, and everywhere we go, he would be like, yeah, can I have a margarita? And I'm like, oh, we're in a pub, sweetie. Sweetie.
Yeah, yeah.
Sweetie. It's like when I turned 21 and I was like, the first thing I do is I'm going Sex in the City, and I lived in Minneapolis, and I went to a bar and I was like, I'll have a Cosmopolitan. And he was like, yeah, no.
That's hilarious. But yeah,
Okay.
like it would be like if you ordered a New York Cosmopolitan. That's how I
Yeah.
read it. What did you
Yeah.
find?
Well, this is just what's the difference between a margarita and a Texas margarita? So the difference, blah, blah, blah. Oh, a Texas margarita has orange juice in it. Oh, that's delicious.
Oh, okay. So it's just maybe the Texan in me.
Yeah. You guys all, yeah, you always think you're just like the hegemonic, you're the dominant culture. That's
I
what
just
you
thought it
guys.
was just like the best margarita. All our listeners in Texas are like, yeah, we do make the best margaritas.
We
So.
actually do have a lot of listeners in Texas. Did I tell you about this? Okay, now we're like totally off topic, but we do.
Okay, well, I learned something. But yeah, I don't know. Texas, bigger, and better. Also, Texas is really having a political meltdown. So
I was gonna say, can we please protect trans rights down there?
yes, Texas has really good food and really very challenging politics.
Yeah. So
Texas.
hashtag do the right thing. Okay.
So she tries to order a Texas margarita. It doesn't happen. And then she tries to order absinthe.
Yo, like this is my whole girl right here.
But also like the pendulum just swung. Like really, she's just trying to get some alcohol, and they have tea and coffee.
It is just so funny. Like, okay, you know, I love the way she speaks. I love her gravitas. Like, what an amazing aura this person has. Like, but there's a serious language barrier here.
Yeah.
And she has said it before. She's like, I fell in love with a fairy tale. I want my fairy tale back. So I don't want to chastise her on the things that she's already admitted. Like, she knows that there's an element of fantasy in her love life.
Yeah.
But I think that, like she says, like, your love is conditional. And I'm like, Debbie, all adult love relationships are conditional, right? Like, parent-child relationships should not be conditional. Those should be unconditional, but those are like really the only exception. Like, they're all conditional. And we see that with Jen and Rishi. Like, I absolutely love you and I want to marry you, but like, I can't, you know, we want different things. Like, yes, it's conditional. Or, I mean, if we take it out of, like, again, what you're saying, the scammer context, Osama had an idea of a future that they would have together. And if I was with a partner and we decided we were going to have a future together, and then all of a sudden that future was not there, I'd be like, you know, that's not for me. That's not where I see myself going.
Right. I was just talking last night about this because I don't know if you follow Nas. He's a content creator. He makes these like really short videos, and he has a partner, Aline, and whatever. They just announced their breakup, and they did it, of course, through content, right? They made like a whole video about it. So anyways, but they were just talking about their different expectations. And at one point, Aline says, this is very specific, but he has a lot of followers. So I'm sure some of our listeners know these people. But she says, you know, like, I've been waiting to be the priority until you were done with this project. But then this project turned into a different project. And, you know, your 1 year project turned into a 1,000-day project. And, you know, I'm basically done waiting. And my analysis of that situation was, you know, you weren't living in the present moment. You were with a partner who was passionate about their content creation, who was saying, this is what I do, this is my job, this is my hobby, this is what like fires me up. It's makes sense that your relationship would resolve if you were, in her words, waiting around for years to get to something that, you know, was maybe never going to come, right? Like, you have to be, it's the importance of the present, right? And it's all about expectations. And Nas should have told her, I'm not going to stop making content.
Yeah.
So it's like both parties. And I think it's the same thing here. Like, there are those conditions. You can't just be with the idea of who you are hoping and wanting your partner to be somewhere down the line. There is a grounding reality to it.
Yeah. And so, I mean, if we take the analogy all the way through, we have two issues. One, that their goals don't match up or how they see the future, but also like they're having a really serious issue about what they agreed to in the first place. Osama, contends and maintains that was not the plan, to stay in Morocco, and she says the exact opposite. She says this really great line about how like he was like becoming her hero or something like that, or she made him her hero. And I was like, he didn't get there alone, sweetie.
Yeah.
Like you built him up. Like it's this contradiction that's really interesting. A lot of Gemini energy. She's like constantly saying, oh, I know I'm delusional, but I cannot, but shaming herself for buying into the delusion. But I just really quick want to say, right, it's the body performance for me. Like she's a performance artist. She has her hands on her hip and she says, don't let your butt write a check that don't write your mouth write a check that your butt can't cash. Absolutely love that. She's like, I'm not gonna let the bad guy win. And I'm like, I live for this growth right here. I live for it. Okay. Like what she had me when she said, there's make and do, honey, but this is make and don't. She had me. How many times I have said that to my children? Like,
oh my God, somebody get Debbie a podcast. Like, does she know about podcasting? Her and the one-liners. Like, somebody help this woman manifest all of her incredible like energy and content. Like, yeah, she's a gem. She's like a national treasure.
National treasure. Yeah, we salute you. Absolutely. Okay.
Oh my God. Okay, Gabe and Isabel. I have to
yeah.
walk back what I said on the last episode. I was positive that Gabe's sister Monica wouldn't be as mean of a person that she actually turned out to be. She did not come to the wedding, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is television. This is drama. They need a drama line because their relationship has been like very stable. I was like, who goes to another country to go to your sibling's wedding and then just doesn't show up on the day after demanding to be in the wedding in multiple capacities? Like, I just thought it was totally manufactured. I was wrong. She did not come. There's something wrong with her.
No, that was incendiary. It was completely unforgivable. We also have to make a correction because I believe that we were going back and forth on this last episode about how they operate, how she was like his older sister. She's younger than him. So I'm just like doing the Freudian analysis in my head about what this is. I was like, I wonder if, Gabe has been a second mother to her at one point in his previous life and is now a father figure to her. I didn't know. I don't know what's happening. And so when I started to see it as like the youngest child, I was like, oh, she needs to be the center of attention again. Maybe like Gabe's transition took a lot of emotional energy out of the family. Like, I think that she really needs things to revolve around her.
You have a really nice read on her. I'm like, you're a mean person.
Oh, well, I don't know. Falsely diagnosing, I'm like one step away from reading the back of a Teen Vogue. That's like where I get my education. But no, I mean, yeah, that was completely unforgivable. He was laying in bed and, he had his face in the pillow, which I thought was a little dramatic, but also I think and you could tell his mom is so used to this drama.
Yeah, okay. His mom's reaction was very bizarre to me.
It was she was almost nonplussed. Like,
yeah, like this is not the first time Monica has really pulled some craziness.
Craziness. Yeah. And he's moving really slow. And it's funny because I think they thought the drama was going to be what you're saying, which is that Isabel or Monica is not coming, but then she'll eventually come. But you can tell that the producers had to pivot and make the tension about just Gabe being late.
Right. It was like, can we focus here? Like, yeah, no, I agree. Okay, whatever. Gabe was late. Isn't everybody late to their wedding? Like, Isabel was mad, but they got married. They had
And
a really nice wedding.
it was so cute. I had like written a few things because I thought it was how Miguel was shaking when he gave Gabe the rings. I thought that was absolutely so cute. I thought that like when they see each other, like they're laughing, like they're grinning. There's really serious love here. Like I think it's.
Yeah.
Did you pick up on the comments from Isabel's dad about Gabe's mom? Like he was like, "What a young, beautiful woman! This is your mother."
Okay.
Oh,
I did, but like I was also wondering where's Isabel's mom? Because she's totally in the picture.
yeah. Well, she was. Well, she was doing the dresses. Remember?
Yeah,
I
okay.
know.
Isabel's dad. I know, because they were totally teeing it up like there's a little chemistry, but it's like, where's the mom?
Yeah, I know. But then I was thinking of, yeah, I know. At that dinner, like Gabe was trying to have a good time, and I think that from what we saw, like they were dancing and he was doing a good job of enjoying himself despite Monica not being there. But I also was thinking, like, Gabe needs to do a better job of sheltering or protecting Isabel and now their family from like Monica's bullshit, because it's obviously hers, and probably protecting himself from it too, but like, no, that's her, that's how she acts, it's not going to affect us.
Yeah, and I have to say too, I was very impressed with Isabel's level-headedness. It really seemed like, just very emotionally like mature, in the sense that obviously it's upsetting, right? That your new sister-in-law didn't come to your wedding, that the reason she didn't come was about you, that there was some fight that you don't really know that had to do with you. Like Isabel could have totally reasonably responded like super offended and kind of centered herself and like her own conflict with Monica arising from this and Monica's escalation by not coming to the wedding at all. But I really felt like Isabel, I was just very impressed. Like she was like, this is not really about me. I'm not going to let this ruin my day. Like I want more information, but first and foremost, I need to support my husband who is dealing with his sister's nonsense. And I just thought that was like a great expression of love and selflessness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and man, I know that wedding went all night. I could not have hanged. I saw them like dancing and it was getting darker and darker, and I'm like, ooh, Dr. Molly would be in bed. But also like, yeah, she probably had, I don't know, probably like a 9 hour, they probably had like a 9 hour wedding. Like, let's be honest about that. Like with the reception and everything, she had 9 hours to show up.
Yeah, she did.
She did
I
not.
was even holding on hope till the end. I was like, okay, maybe she's gonna miss this. Maybe she's gonna come late. And then I was like, maybe she's just gonna not come to the ceremony. She's gonna show up at the reception. She never came. Monica. Not cool.
Not cool.
Not cool.
No bueno. I know. I mean, I'm excited. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. We'll see. I wonder if they'll be unhappily ever after, but also I don't think they have enough drama.
No, they like really are just happily ever after.
They're like the only couple we've ever seen. Yeah.
Just like got married and are happy.
Yeah, there was no drama. Like they couldn't even bring kids into it. Like they had no drama.
Right, like the kids are good. The situation with the family is good. It's just freaking Monica. I mean, and it wasn't even good drama. Like we didn't even see the original fight. She didn't even show up to the wedding and try to fight like Charlie and Andre and and
all the cops
and Elizabeth's wedding, right? Like it wasn't even good drama. It was like off camera, just absence. Like no.
Oh no, as a producer, it is your job to get that footage the night before a wedding, and you know that Isabel has tension going out with Gabe going
Yeah,
out. You gotta
right.
get that on the shot of the night before because it also insinuates bachelor, at esque parties. So it's like, how do you not have the footage of them at a bar?
What happened? There's got to be a backstory. Either somebody like really dropped the ball, or they just thought it was going to be very tame and mellow. And then Monica did like a 180 whiplash,
Yeah.
and it went really south really fast. I don't know.
I wonder too if like someone was really drunk and they didn't want that on camera. Like Monica was really drunk when it happened or something, but
Again, like Charlie was really drunk and made a big scene at the wedding, and it was like the subject of a whole season.
oh my God, I'm so glad we don't have to talk about that family.
What is her name? I know her real name's Libby. I knew her name was
Libby.
Elizabeth, like me, but I just couldn't remember her.
Pass.
Yeah, her nickname, Libby. They were a fun couple.
Were they?
Yeah. She just had another baby. I want another show with them.
What did they
A
name?
spin-off of their crazy family.
I'm actually a huge Andre fan.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah. Like I think her family is like crazy. They're
Yeah.
like Florida, like weird white Florida royalty.
Yes, and they have this like real estate empire situation, and her sister.
They want to be the Kardashians so bad. They want to be selling Sunset so bad. And I'm just not.
I mean, like, are they gonna get their own show? They have all the makings of their own spin.
They've been trying, but I don't think that I wonder sometimes if Andre's in the way of it, or I also think that like someone doesn't cooperate. I don't know. Or like
it's all Charlie's fault.
I think Charlie would love to be on TV. Because remember that like they sell foot pics. Like so I think that's how they make money. Yeah, like, oh my God. Not want to see his wife's cocaine feeds.
And Chuck, I've like really come around to Chuck. In the beginning, I thought Chuck was a major problem, but like I think Chuck has really come around. Okay, let's do a poll. Who would watch their spin-off show? Me.
Oh, I'm doing a Zoom poll right now, and I was just kidding. But it would be a hard no for me. Like I
You
also
would watch that?
Absolutely not, Dr. Rule. If you wanted to cover it, I'd be like, we'll get a guest. I'm being a party pooper. Like, honestly, they're like really, really conservative politically, and their dad donates a lot of money like to conservative causes. And I just feel like I couldn't be part of it.
I didn't know that.
But I do want to say that I will say that we realize that Chuck is not the issue. It has been the mom all along. Like the mom was the emotional manipulator, and she's the one that stirs the pot and fucked up the kids.
That's what I mean. Like I've come around to Chuck. Like in the beginning, I really didn't like him, but yeah, it's the mom and Charlie.
Oh God,
Charlie.
We
are off subject right now.
But it's okay because this portion is over. We are going to do our part 2 episode. I think it's really going to be a part 2. I don't even think we need to do the whole like spiel about our social media. I think we can just jump in. So if you're listening, this is part 1 of episode 14 for 90 Day Fiancé the Other Way. Stay tuned for the tell-all coverage. Anything else, Dr. Rule?
Yeah, just roll on over. We're going to be talking about the second half of this last episode, which starts the tell-all, and then the next full episode of the tell-all, which is episode 16, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
It got all jumbled together. It got weird. Just roll over to the next episode. We'll see you there. Class is not dismissed. I'm taking a break.
We're taking a 10-minute break. Go use the bathroom, biological break. Okay.